Growing up in Nigeria, my experience with this same mark was complicated. I was sometimes judged before people knew me. Some assumed I was less educated. Others associated tribal marks with being local or backward. Ironically, after getting to know me, and many people have said we shouldn't judge a book by its cover. Years later, after leaving Nigeria, the questions changed. Instead of assumptions, people became curious. Guess questions people ask me. Is that a tattoo? What does it mean? When I hear those questions, most times I usually find myself telling the story of my tribal mark over and over again, and I always connect it to even my name. One day, my daughter looked at me and asked, "Mama," and she was touching, "What is this on your face?" I don't have it. As a researcher and also a parent, and because I work with children alone, consciously or unconsciously, I have loved learning with children rather than simply answering them when they ask me questions. So instead of answering my daughter the way I usually explain to others when they ask me such questions, I just said, "Why did you ask?" Then her response, she said, "So I can explain it to people when they ask me." For a brief moment, my mind raced, and I was wondering whether she felt uncomfortable about my tribal mark. Was she embarrassed? Or was she also beginning to see it the way society sometimes had been seeing it, especially in Nigerian community, how they've been seeing me with tribal mark? But I soon realized something important. She wasn't questioning my identity. She was preparing to help others understand it, because she said, so that I can answer people when they ask me. That ordinary question that my daughter asked me reminded me that children don't only ask questions to receive answers. Sometimes they ask because they are preparing to become teachers themselves. And rather than giving you my own explanation on my tribal mark and what I embody, I wanted someone from my family, from my lineage, to tell this story. And on episode 3 of Bridging Our Learning Worlds, my uncle, Alhaji Tajuddin Alábẹdé, has lived with these histories far longer than I have. He helped me understand not only what our family marks signify, but also how tribal marks have been understood across Yoruba community and beyond, especially because he has also been living in the northern part of Nigeria for decades. Are you ready? Let's learn together as we listen to Alhaji Tajuddin Alábẹdé.
Several times people normally ask me that question, that what is a tribal mark? What is its relevance? What is usefulness? And then why do we have it? We believe every community, every society have their way of identification. That is to say, tribal marks is a kind of means of identification of every community, every town, right from the generational ancestral period. Illa means a tribal mark. It was noted that I was ancestral. I used it as a means of identifying everybody, like Ogun State, as Alábẹdé to be precise. The Egbas of Owu Kingdom, they have their traditional tribal marks, and also we have something like that in the Ake people or Bagoras. Tribal mark is a means of identifying some trade, some family. Tribal mark, they see it as a kind of their means of identification. Either in the battlefield, either in a gathering of ceremonial stuff, they accept it. I've been a victim of many occasions. When I go to any social gathering, people will say, "You're a Yoruba man from Abeokuta." And for those who are not my family, say, "You are an Alábẹdé." Take, for instance, our former president, General Olusegun Obasanjo, is known with his own tribal marks. And these tribal marks signifies whom they are, what trade you are, and which family you come from. A typical example of such, we go to the Ugbo people in your state, or the Oyo Kingdom, or the Ibadans. You will see each and every house, they have their tribal marks. But all these things stands for just two things. From which family do you come from? From which town do you come from? To identify. Two, tribal marks is being used, once again, as a means of pride. Then, during our ancestral period, because they see it as a way of identifying their family and freedom of showing the cultural heritage of our society. Tribal marks. Up to this moment, there are some villages, towns, and some areas or community or settlements. They are still doing it. Just to show you kind of ways the ancestral roles are still there. Most especially, those are into the traditional religions. They will say it is very important, they must have it as a sign of recognition of their ancestral efforts. Whichever way, tribal marks is something that has been long in African society, Nigeria predominantly, and then the Yoruba people. So tribal marks, it depends on individual, the way you perceive it. Although when it's been done on anybody, the first few days, it goes with all some gifts by the family, friends, and relations of the person that was done to, in order to show a kind of support and kind of bringing the guy to a kind of a different world entirely, has been appreciated. So tribal marks is something you can never do without in African society, because there are some people that believe tribal marks is something that now should be eroded in the history of the African society. With this, I think that's been solved. In a nutshell, tribal marks is an old ancestral stuff. Although it is kind of diminishing gradually in some families, some states, some community. And it's not only recognized in the family. There are some traits too that they have their way of manner, they do their own tribal marks. And the tribal marks, it depends on the size and the approach or the manner they read and the number. Some are one, just like minus, or straight one, like letter I. Some are two, some are three. It depends on the family and then the group that are doing it. Tribal marks is a thing of a pride in the yesteryears. Even though in the contemporary period, people were running away from it because you see it's a kind of old version. Whichever way you see it, it depends on you.
And reflecting to my uncle reminded me that what we inherit is often more than what we see. For him, tribal marks are a history of identity, family, belonging, and even cultural pride. Yet, my own experiences have also shown me that that same mark may be interpreted very differently depending on where we are and who is looking. My daughter's question reminded me that children don't always ask questions because they doubt us. Sometimes they ask because they are preparing to carry our stories forward. So perhaps today, our lesson is this. Before we dismiss what we inherit, maybe we should first ask what story it carries. I would love to hear from you. What is one part of your identity, culture, or family history that you hope future generations will understand rather than simply inherit it haphazardly? Until next time, let's bridge our learning worlds through language, learning, family, and community. Ireo.